A big complaint I see from some Beyblade Burst fans about Beyblade X are about the lack of gimmicks. Ignoring the fact that year 1 of Beyblade Burst had little in terms of gimmicks, the first year of a new Beyblade series tends to face criticism for starting off simple or different. Metal Fight lost the original cast and the Bit Beast, which was a deal breaker for many Beyblade boomers. Burst lost the metal and added the burst mechanic, which was seen as inferior, and X blades were gimmickless, carried by the Extreme Rail Stadium. But recently we have started to see the return of gimmicks, and I'm not talking about a heavy circle being considered a gimmick, I'm talking about a free spinning ring and balls. With me today I have a bunch of new Beyblade X bays, with some of them having some nice gimmicks to them. So let's just go and open up the customization set. Here is everything we get out of the box. This set includes the most Beyblade parts out of any other set in Beyblade X. Because my intro was all about gimmicks, let's start off with the main event of this set, and that's the Nightmail Blade. Nightmail is a right-spinning defense type blade that is the successor to Night Lance, and just like Night Lance, even though Nightmail is labeled a defense type, it's actually seeing success as an attack type on aggressive bits like low flat and rush. Though for me, I can't wait to try it out on ball. Speaking of ball, Nightmail's gimmick is the defense trope of metal balls. These metal balls move up and down and apparently are supposed to help with shock absorption, though I don't remember any of these ball gimmicks really doing much. But hey, it's a gimmick. A Bay scientist can probably go deeper into it in the comments. But now that we have looked at the main blade of this set, let's quickly go through everything else, starting with the bits. Really, one of the few negatives I can think of for this set is the metal needle bit. It's usually banned in tournaments due to the metal needle bit damaging stadiums, and performance-wise, it isn't really a substantial difference from other needle bits, where you should risk the stadium to use it consistently. Though it is a neat inclusion nonetheless, because its original release was from a prize version of Shinobi Shadow from the random booster, so this is a more accessible way to get the bit. Though I feel like Hexa or even High Needle would have been a better defense bit to include. Next, we get a Red Rush bit. Originally released in the 3-on-3 Drawn Dagger deck set, and later in random boosters, it's great to get another way to obtain the Rush bit, because the Rush bit is arguably the best attack type bit in the game due to its ability to do extreme dashes easily. Every attack-oriented deck is going to have a combo using the Rush bit, so having more ways to get it is great. Speaking of top tier bits, we also get the ball bit, which is arguably the best stamina bit in the game, really holding its spot tight, even though it was one of the first bits ever released in Beyblade X. It's great that ball is available in this set, because prior, it was only available in random boosters and products from Beyblade X's launch day well over a year ago, making purchases for those products just to get the ball bit less enticing due to the other parts in those products either being outclassed or nearing obsolescence. So having a product with newer, more viable parts outside of the ball bit is great. This set goes 3 for 3 with the top tier parts with the inclusion of the point bit, which is the best balance type bit in the game, with strong stamina and aggressive attack capabilities based on the angle it's in. It wasn't in as dire of a situation to be reprinted like the Rush or Ball bit, but it's still great to have such a good bit in this set. Okay, next is the most disappointing part of the set, and that is the rubber Accel bit. This attack type bit holds the award for the first rubber bit in Beyblade X. Unfortunately, while this bit is okay when brand new, it isn't really changing the game like many thought it would. But the real stinker is that it gets worn out pretty easily and turns from an okay bit to a bad bit. And while this set is good, I wouldn't recommend buying multiples of it just to get backups of rubber Accel. But hey, I'm a stamina and defense oriented blader. You attack folks can most likely make better use of the rubber Accel bit. And the final bit is Bound Spike, which is Nightmail's canon bit. While it has Spike in its name, it's not really similar to the Spike bit, aside from sharing the defense typing. It seems I still think bits like Ball, High Needle, and Hexa are my go-to choices for stationary combos. Next, let's take a look at the Ratchets, and while we get a lot of bits, we only get a few Ratchets. First is the 160 Ratchet, which wasn't really in dire straits to get another release, but it's a good attack type Ratchet to use. The 160 Ratchet is all about putting focus onto one point of a Beyblade to make that point hit really hard, sacrificing stamina for more power behind a heavy hit, which is why this Ratchet is popular with attack type combos, and even some anti-attack defense combos. Next is the 770 Ratchet, which makes its debut in this set. 7-sided Ratchets are heavier and good for attack and defense type combos, but usually niche in use, so combining it with the 70 height, which is also pretty niche in use, is interesting. However, 70 has seen some use in combos that want a bit more height, but don't want to jump all the way to 80. Speaking of jumping height, we get another Ratchet making its debut in this set, and that's the 385 Ratchet. I was a bit intrigued with this Ratchet because of its taller height that may be useful to Silver Wolf, and because bits feel a lot tighter when connected to this Ratchet. However, the Ratchet is about 2 grams lighter than your typical Ratchet, and apparently the way this Ratchet is designed is actually damaging blades, so I am very wary of actually using this Ratchet until someone braver can do proper testing with it and calm my worries. Now let's get into the more exciting part and look at the blades, starting off with an awesome looking Hell's Hammer blade with an ice blue metal coating. Now, Hell's Hammer may be the least competitively successful Hell's Blade, however, it has seen some success in attack and defense combinations. If you want to use it in attack, pick your favorite aggressive bit and low 60 height Ratchet. If you want to use it in a stationary combo, go for a Ratchet that's 70 or lower and use the Hexa or Orb bit. A big selling point for this set is the recolor of Tyranno Beat. Until the Hasbro Dual Pack comes out, the customization set is the only consistent way to get Tyranno Beat, which was originally released as a prize bay in a random booster, making it difficult to obtain. Tyranno Beat is arguably the strongest attack type blade in the game. Give it a low 60 height Ratchet and slap on your favorite aggressive bit onto Tyranno Beat and you're good to go with a top tier attack type combo. Speaking of attack types, we have Takara Toby's first release of Talon Ptera, which is called Ptera Swing in the Takara Tomy release. Though it's designated as a stamina type, this echo of Viper Tail is actually seeing success as an attack type, doing well on the flat bit. And there you have it, every part that comes with the Beyblade X Customize You set. If I were to make a Beyblade X deck using only the parts available in this set, my combos would be Nightmail 385 Ball as an anti-attack stationary combo, Tyranno Beat 160 Rush, which is an incredible top tier attack combo, and Hell's Hammer or Ptera Swing 770 Point as a secondary attacker with a little more stamina. Overall, the customized set U has a ton of amazing parts and is definitely a must-buy. If you are just getting into Beyblade X, I would actually make this set be one of the first things you buy after getting a stadium set. Next, let's open up the Samurai Saber starter set. Here is everything you get outside of the box, which is all the parts needed to build Samurai Saber and the new hold launcher. The launcher itself is just a longer launcher good for people who like to hold their launchers facing sideways. However, the more important thing is the ripcord. It's slightly longer than the original, so in theory it should make your launches stronger. However, the way the handle is shaped may take some practice to get used to. I personally feel it's a bit small for the way I like to hold the winder, so it's a bit disappointing. Though, at least everything is cross-compatible with the old stuff, so that's good. Let's take a look at the level bit. This bit is being called the successor to the point bit, with more of an attack focus. Even though it just got released, the level bit is making a big splash with attack combos, with some claiming it to be the best bit in the game, which is great for attack bladers, especially after the cloud that's been Stamina Wizard Rod for the past few months. I'm excited to see where this bit goes competitively. Next is the 270 Ratchet, which also makes its debut in this set. It looks pretty, but two-sided ratchets aren't really that good due to it being too off balance and causing the Beyblade that uses it to wobble. And for the main event, the new Samurai Saber blade, which is labeled an attack type, and while it is good for attack, Samurai Saber is actually good in both aggressive or stationary combos. In fact, I'd actually call this blade a balance type. This blade has already seen some success on the point bit, and I for one plan on using this blade as well. Samurai Saber also has a gimmick of two blades that come out when the blade is spinning, which is supposed to help Samurai Saber get more hits in. I don't know if it's really going to make much of an impact, but hey, it's like a cherry on top of an ice cream sundae. Out of the box, I'd say Samurai Saber has the makings for a strong attack type. Unfortunately, the Ratchet does hold it back a bit. Literally any other different-sided 60 or 70 height Ratchet would improve this combo. Overall, Samurai Saber is definitely a great purchase. 2 out of 3 of the parts are definitely gonna leave a mark in Beyblade X, plus the longer ripcord and launcher are a great addition. I'd even say this set would make a solid first purchase for someone getting into Beyblade X. Next up to complete our gimmick unboxing is the Crimson Garuda booster. Out of the box, you get all the parts needed to build the Beyblade. First, let's take a look at the bit, because that's where the gimmick lies, and that's the transpoint bit. Its gimmick is that it can change its height depending on where the bit is situated. It can also change height mid-battle with the extreme dash rail, so that's also something to consider. If level is like a point bit with more attack, then transpoint is like a point with more stamina. The point fans are definitely going to have a lot of fun making a deck full of points. The transpoint bit is seeing some early success with Samurai Saber, so it's going to be cool to see how far this bit can go. Next is the 470 Ratchet. The thick points make this Ratchet more prone to bursting compared to the likes of 3, 5, and 9-sided Ratchets, so its use is more limited. However, this is the first release of the 470 Ratchet that's not in a random booster, so that's nice. And finally, we have the Crimson Garuda blade. While it hasn't made any big splashes early on like Samurai Saber or Knight Mail, it does seem to be a solid choice for attack type combinations, so be sure to slap a low height Ratchet and aggressive bit on it. Out of the box, the only thing I would really change is the Ratchet, giving Garuda a lower 60 height Ratchet with points that are less burst heavy like 3, 5, or 9. Perhaps an even more aggressive Ratchet like Flat would do the trick in making Crimson Garuda a solid attacker. Overall, I think the Trans Point bit has a lot of potential, and Crimson Garuda is a solid blade. Because this is only a booster pack, I would say this is a solid purchase, though not a must-have first purchase like the previous products we looked at. But that's it for the Beyblades with gimmicks. I think we are heading in the right direction, however, I think the previously released Silver Wolf with its free spin ring attached to the blade is more of a significant gimmick compared to the gimmicks we saw today. Next, let's unbox Black Dranzer. Out of the box, we get all the parts needed to build the Beyblade. I guess you could say this Beyblade does have a gimmick, that being a cool recolor of a nostalgia bait Beyblade. I have talked about Dranzer S before, so I will be quick. The Dranzer S blade works essentially like a lighter version of Sword Drawn or Drawn Sword, with a bit more stamina. So any combo you would use with Drawn Sword, like 360 flat, would work great on Dranzer S as well. Next is the 380 Ratchet, which is an okay Ratchet. Definitely not a first choice pick for Ratchets, but it's not the worst. And then we have the Taper Bit, which has stood the test of time, seeing consistent competitive use since its release. I think I see it even more than flat these days. Its aggressive capabilities with more stamina than your average attack type bit has made it a popular backup bit for when the rush bit is being used by another attack type combo in the same deck. And there we have it, Black Dranzer. Out of the box, I'd say the only thing that needs to be switched is the Ratchet. I'd give it a lower 60 height Ratchet and call it a day. Really, the main selling point is the cool black recolor. While this is a limited edition Beyblade in Japan, it seems to have seen a wider release in other Asian territories, so it's cool I was able to get this for a standard booster price. Next, I have a bunch of random boosters to open, so let's get right to opening them, starting off with the Black Shell boosters. First, we have the Dot Bit, which is a high stamina defense type bit. It does need to be broken in a bit, since a brand new Dot Bit can act a bit too aggressive. You'd think I'd love this bit since I'm a stationary blader, but I really don't like how it looks. It looks infected with something. Next is the 370 Ratchet, which is a pretty solid 70 height Ratchet, good for any Beyblade you want to be a 70 height. And next we have the Unicorn Sting blade with a cool red recolor. Unicorn Sting is a solid balance type blade that can be used in any type of combo. It's currently popular with attack combinations, but used to be popular in stamina and defense type combos. Out of the box, Unicorn Sting 370 Dot isn't bad. I think it's actually pretty solid, though to fit in with modern sensibilities, I'd put a more aggressive bit like flat or even point on it. Overall, while I would be disappointed to pull this Beyblade randomly if I wanted the prize Beyblade, since I did purchase this knowing what I was going to get, and I paid less than $6 Canadian for it, I am pretty happy with this purchase. Let's open the next Black Shell random booster next. First up is the Purple Dot Bit, and it still looks infected to me. Next we get a nice purple 570 Ratchet. Now this is a pretty epic Ratchet to have. It's one of the better 70 height Ratchets with its 5 sides, giving the blade that uses it better stamina and defense. Though if you bought Wizard Rod, you probably already have this Ratchet, but it's never bad to have multiples of good parts. And last is a Purple Tail Viper. The color is pretty cool, and while Talon Ptera has stolen its thunder for attack type combos, Tail Viper is still okay for attack. That being said, this isn't really a good pull to get. However, I bought this for less than $3 Canadian, making it one of the cheapest Beyblades I have ever bought, so I am still happy with this purchase as a collection filler. Next, let's open up the Shinobi Shadow Random Booster. First, let's take a look at the gear point bit. It seems like we have gotten a lot of point type bits in this unboxing. Overall, gear point works like point, with the angle of the bit changing how the Beyblade acts. However, because of the gear design, it unfortunately makes the Beyblade using it more prone to getting knocked out when latching onto the rails. It isn't horrible, but you can do a lot better with the other point bits. Next is the 370 Ratchet. Not as good as 570 for defense, but still one of the better 70 height ratchets available. And then we have Shinobi Shadow. It looks cool and the yellow design reminds me of Naruto, but the funny thing is, despite it being a UX blade, it is actually one of the lightest blades in the entire game, weighing less than 29 grams. It's too light to really do anything, and I don't see any fans for this blade at all. Maybe I can be the first one to try to see any competitive viability with it using it with the Hexa bit. Overall, the only selling point for this Beyblade is the fact that it's a unique line blade. I wouldn't pull for it, but I would still get it because I paid less than $3 for it. If you can find any Beyblade for that cheap, it's worth a buy. And finally, let's open the Whale Wave Random Booster. Now, I actually bought this because I needed another copy of High Needle. High Needle is a great defense type bit and one of the best in the game. Unfortunately, I only have one copy and accidentally spun it on gravel for a bit, which is probably the equivalent of being launched 50 times in a stadium, so I was in desperate need for another copy, so I'm glad I got this. Next is the 470 Ratchet, which isn't the best, but it isn't the worst. And finally, Whale Wave itself, which is one of the best attack-type blades in the game. For some reason, the render made it look like it would be brown, but it's actually black. Whale Wave still has a chance to burst due to its tall height, but it's still in the running for top 5 best attack-type blades, so put it on a low ratchet and slap on an attack-type bit and you're good to go. Overall, out of all the random boosters I got today, this was definitely the best. Whale Wave can actually work as an attack type too, so this stock combo isn't too bad, though I would make it an attack type if I wasn't forced to use the stock combo. Now, I paid just over $10 for this Beyblade, and I got the High Needle bit I needed and a top tier attack type blade. The price for this actually went up over $4, so even the seller knew that the price was too good. These 4 random boosters were really cheap. Heck, the shipping was more expensive than the actual Beyblades, and overall, it cost just as much as buying Hasbro Beyblades locally, so I think it was a pretty good deal. Well, there we have it. Probably my biggest Beyblade X unboxing in a while, and probably the last big unboxing for the year. Overall, I am quite happy with the additions I made to my collection. Well, this has been your Canadian Beyblade boy, ZB. What is your favorite Beyblade out of everything I opened today? Let me know in the comment section below, and if you liked the video, hit the like button. Or don't, I'm not the boss of you, but be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you get updated whenever I upload. Until next time, see ya.